Press secrets revealed. How to get your business the PR coverage it needs. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros. Good to have you all here. I have an awesome guest who's going to help us with our PR situation. Hello, Brooke. How are you?
I am wonderful and very excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. And I know we have a lot of partners and people that I work with all the time that I've been bragging about you too, because Brooke is amazing. She is a PR and communication consulting, well, I would say guru. To me, she's a PR guru because hands down, this woman can find such good coverage. She does such a good job following up with people to get the PR for them. So I have to brag on her for that. Thank you, Brooke.
And we get along very well. We have had a lot of fun. You can tell from the giggly nature. We have been talking and having a great time for 30 minutes already. And we plan to include you guys on our giggly, good-natured fun for another 30.
Exactly. And you have all these secrets. We're just going to kind of go through and talk about what the best things to do for PR for your business. If you guys have any questions in the chat, let us know. Go ahead and put your question in there and I'll try to get them answered by Brooke at some time during the show today. But I think that I think the biggest question people ask is how to get the PR. But I think I'm going to tell you guys now what my secret to PR is Brooke. So no, I have to say PR is done much better when somebody else has you in their mind. They know who to talk to. They know who to introduce you to. They have those inside connections. It really is an inside job. So you need to find someone who can help you with it. But then I know you have tips for us on what we should and shouldn't do when we're doing these interviews, right?
Absolutely. And one distinction I will make too is when you are working with someone within the PR field or the communication field, it's really important that you like that person. I think so often we look for who the best is. It's really, really important that you trust that person because they are taking your reputation and your business baby and they're promoting it to the world. And I always tell my clients, I want you to trust me 100%. And if you don't, that means I'm not your person. Mm-hmm. So I think whoever you choose, regardless of that person, make sure that there's somebody you'd want to spend time with. You can trust their ethics and their morals and their values because PR done wrong can look negative, right? So you have to make sure that you can really, really trust that person.
Oh,
and that you want to be their friend. Like if you don't want to be their friend, that won't be a good match. So make sure it's someone you're really open, really honest, and have a lot of fun with.
Yeah. And I think their views have to be a little bit, you have to agree on the premise of the business. Like you have to be able to be the biggest fan of that business. I know with us and the partners, like there are some partners that I don't understand their products. So I really can't brag yet about them because I don't fully understand them. I don't have that connection yet. And so we have to build that. So the PR team or person that you're using, you need to feel like they're there, they understand you fully, and they have your voice, your goals, you're the same heart for the business as you do.
And they should be a cheerleader, right? Someone you can go to when things are going wrong and when things are going great.
Now, were you a cheerleader? I just kind of feel like you might have.
No, everyone asked me if I was a cheerleader, but I actually didn't go to traditional high school. I was homeschooled and went straight to college. So if I could have been a cheerleader, I would have been a cheerleader. I have that cheerleader vibe, but I guess I'm going to cheerlead on my clients.
There you go. I love it. So definitely you have to connect with the person that you're working with. You have to like them as a friend. That's a great tip.
I think it is. And I think it's overlooked. I've had people come to me before, particularly in the AI and tech space, and they'll say, my friend referred you. They said how nice you were or XYZ. If I don't understand your business, I can't advocate for you. And the mark of somebody that's very good at PR, or even if you're doing your own PR, is advocate for yourself, right? Or select and hire someone to advocate for you, because there's a lot of noise. I mean, there is news every single day and celebrity drama every day and tabloids every day. So to cut through that noise, somebody has to be constantly scanning and looking for opportunities. But when they find them, they are advocating for you. It can't be half-hearted. It has to be really very sincere. And if you're doing it yourself, don't dim or dumb down what you do. Make sure that you're really, really highlighting your accomplishments, spotlighting your unique value, all of those things. You have to be willing to go to bat for yourself or have someone go to bat for you.
I love that. I love that. And the big thing, I think, when what you said that really stood out to me is that they have to have time to advocate for you. So when we were in the
Mhm.
back just a little bit ago, you said, I don't take a lot of clients. Like they have to have time to be able to do this. If they have hundreds or thousands of clients, do you come to mind when they are flipping through opportunities?
Right.
Probably not. So you do want to pick someone who has the time to help you.
Well, if I had hundreds of clients, I think I'd cry myself to sleep every night. But speaking of, another tip that Tess and I were talking about before we began was when you're going on an interview, I think that so many people suffer and struggle when they think about live TV or live radio or podcast interviews. I say the number one most important thing you can be doing if you're going into a live interview is actually be enthusiastic about what you have to share.
Mhm.
Just talking about what I said before about going to bat, when you are going into these news situations, they're coming to you because they see you as a valuable and credible expert. Believe me, if you were not valuable, they would not be coming to your door. So when they're having these conversations with you, not only should you demonstrate your credibility and authority and provide value to that reporter and journalist, but provide a level of enthusiasm too. If someone is excited about what they're selling, it makes you want to buy from them. That's why the little girls that sell the Girl Scout cookies, like the very excited little girls, they're successful because they're so excited.
They're so
And
happy.
people will say, yes, oh, well, my company focuses on something that's not enthusiastic. That might be true, but is there a way to bring enthusiasm to that conversation? And if not enthusiasm, can you bring conviction?
Yes, absolutely. I think that, and just a tip
Yeah.
from somebody who has to go live and was petrified the first time I had to go live on a video or have any live interview. Uh, I always do something that I love right before. So, you get stressed, but I love to drink a Diet Coke, or I love to go out and look at the birds, but I do something that makes me happy. And then that shines through before I have to actually be on a camera. So if you can do something that you enjoy. And I've also heard on I did a live earlier today, and they were just saying, just breathe in between when you have moments, just take deep breaths instead of being like so excited, like so stressed. You just have to calm yourself down in those interview situations. So those are my tips if you're scared of the live opportunities, because there's so many exposure ways to get extra exposure if you do the live ones. If you only do the press in the news print one, you're not going to get it as much exposure as if you do some of these live ones.
Yes, and that segues me into two things.
Oh,
Number one, I did some media training for a man who's very nervous. He was going to go on CNN the next morning. And I was telling him, similar to what Tessa was just saying, prior to your interview, make sure that you feel grounded and you feel like yourself, because it is easy to have that out of body experience. And that's where people are like, I didn't say what I wanted to say.
that's
Then
true. It's like a
secondarily,
rush from that out of body is real. You're right.
yes, it's a very out of body experience. I get it too. Secondarily, with the print media, there are so many facets of PR that I don't think people realize are really within the realm of PR. So we have radio and TV, print, digital print, but there are more niche and interesting ways to get exposure too. You can do event partnerships. You can do, partnerships with other organizations, maybe organizations within similar fields. You can do, social partnerships, influencer partnerships. There is a huge realm of things. As PR goes more digital and less, newspaper based, we have so many opportunities to seek exposure far beyond TV and far beyond radio. So making sure that when you're approaching these conversations, have an ask. Here's what I want, but also here is how that person benefits from it. If we go into a conversation with a one-sided, I want to, leech off of you and benefit from you, we're not going to get as many hits or as much support. So going into any negotiation, any type of social partnership or traditional media partnership, here is how I will serve your audience.
I love it. That's perfect.
And we have to think about how success is measured for them too, right?
Yes. And so that's a good question. Man, I didn't even have that one. So how do you know if somebody, or I guess, how do you measure the success of PR in general? Just
Sure.
like big picture.
Yes. And I was just telling Tessa, I am kind of a macro speaker, macro thinker. With PR, we want people to understand your story. So it can be very easy to get caught up on this is the biggest website with the most amount of clicks. But are the most people from your industry spending their time there? A lot of these more niche tech publications that are not as gigantic as the Washington Post will actually have a higher conversion rate. And that surprises most people in the beginning to hear that. Think about two things: mass exposure, how to get in front of a lot of eyeballs. That's kind of where fishing, for nothing in particular and letting people know who we are. But number two, where do my fish hang out? If I'm an angelfish, where do I find other angelfish that would have similar values and similar ideas? Because those people will convert very, very quickly into clients or whatever goal that we have for them.
Absolutely.
Secondarily, have a goal for your PR. I want people on the email list. I want people to get this freebie. I want my followers to go up by a specific amount. If we go in without a goal, it can sometimes be hard to measure.
Mm-hmm. And you're making progress. You can't even see if there's progress if you don't have a goal and you don't know how to watch that. I love their KPIs that you control and you can see, right?
Yes.
So never go into PR without some way to get contact information. That's just me as your web gal. I'm always going to say, like, have a way for people to sign up and give you their contact information, because no matter where, you have Facebook followers, you have they own those followers, not you, until you get them in your inbox. So definitely find a way to be able to collect people's contact information and make that the call to action on these shows. If you're on a TV show, it's the first thing on your homepage. If you're going to send people to your website, you'll have it right there at the top so that they can grab it and they know what to do next. If you don't have a call to action for them, they won't do anything, right?
Well, yes. And they have to have a logical roadmap or a logical staircase. And Tessa's speaking to me here because I don't have an email list or a website or any of that. But hey, I put a lot of time and effort towards supporting other people. But I really do.
It's true. It's true. Shoemaker's kids have no shoes. She's the same. But you have plenty of PR for sure.
Yes. When we think about our consumers or our readers, whatever you want to call them, we have to think about the story that they're walking through. So if someone does not understand you or your industry and they've never heard your name before, they need an introduction to who you are. So coming out of this gate swinging, if we go for a very niche and specific feature in a very large publication, that might be confusing if the public doesn't know who you are. So balancing it between industry, I'm an industry expert in laundry soap versus here's how I got into detergent, right? We have to know who that person is to support them in their business. So I always take a comprehensive approach of, well, yes, you might be an expert on detergent, but people want to know the backstory of how you got into detergent. I have no clue where I thought of that.
No, that's okay. Well, that's actually really good when you mentioned your background. That's a huge part of what PR does get picked up. It's like the story, but not just your background, but how is people care about how you're making that different. I know they talked about 1-800-GOT-JUNK, got PR, got on Oprah, and the actual story wasn't about this junk collecting service. It was how they were doing certain things, how they built their business in hard times, how they had a varying culture, or they built this awesome culture up in the company. It's like, what is it that you're doing and the why? And
Mhm.
then also what, your background and your specialty and all those things, but it has to make sense. Like it all has to connect. And I think that's what I love about Brooke is she'll find the connection. She'll also find the connection to the people's audience. Like, and we met on Harrow, which is a way to get in front of news people. However, Brooke has always been the best person. She gives me the very best guests. They have extremely amazing backgrounds. So she's thinking about it like, hey, Tessa, I saw this and it's a good match. This person's awesome. She's already thought through how we all can work together and the messaging, and it's a perfect match. So I think that's really important. It's your backstory and how it fits into that person's PR, what they're going to be publishing.
Absolutely. And I'm always thinking, is this someone that's going to be helpful in the long run for this person? And so sometimes with other connections, mostly those who work in print, I'll say, hi, I hope you're doing well. I usually know about their dogs and their kids because that's the
She
type of person
remembers.
that I am. Yes, I
She
do.
does.
But then I'll let them know. I'll say, hey, I know, we haven't done a story together in a little bit, but I have this person. If you ever need this or this or this or this, text me or call me because we are their partners. I think we often forget that we are the partners to the media. They need our stories to keep the media going. And so we have to support them. And it's important to give them what they need, right?
Yeah, and they need stories every single day. That's the part that I think we don't, as business owners, we're like, well, why would they cover my story? Well, they need fresh stories to be able to submit for their job. And they need them fast. They need the next story. They need to be ahead of the game, So I think we shouldn't limit the media in that way. Like, I don't think they're going to pick it up. Well, give them a chance, or give Brooke a chance to go out and find how that story can connect with them for sure. But you also mentioned beforehand, which I love this tip, and it goes a little bit into, well, there's two areas, but you mentioned just being you. And a lot of us are really tempted because we got an opportunity to be something that we're not, to go get everything overly done. I have to be amazingly not me, right? They are going to want something different. But I know you said, just be you. And can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think it's tempting. And I even experienced this myself. To give a little context to my background, I usually sit on the other side and interview people. It's a very comfortable and fun place to be. But when I'm being interviewed, I'm a little more shy.
I know she said that, and I think she's just fine. She's not shy.
Well, in terms of being yourself, I think it's easy to focus too much on being proper or on being perfect. One of the things that so many people mention to me is, what if I don't have the answer? And I was telling Tessa prior, my favorite thing I have ever heard in an interview and will continue to be my favorite thing is when someone is honest and they say, I don't know. Because that is one of the most powerful and convicted statements you can say, to admit that's not something I'd thought of until now. In terms of being yourself, though, be yourself in terms of your background, in terms of your expertise, in terms of your laugh or your giggle or your voice or whatever it is. For me, I like to wear a lot of pink. I didn't today, who knows? But wear the things that make you feel like you, say the things that make you feel like you. Journalists, they want to, of course, have good source material, number one, to make their story better. But number two, every journalist I know, former and present, does what they do because they want to tell good stories. If you aren't being yourself, you are not giving them a fully comprehensive picture of your story.
Absolutely. I mean, and they want real facts. I mean, they really need it. It's not even that they want it; they want facts. It's the
Yes.
fact-driven industry, right? So,
well, and make sure you give them what they need, right? So that some things to consider having together: a really beautiful picture of yourself.
Amen. I just told Brooke right before. I was like, you have what you need for me to be able to market you. You have a nice picture, which is one of the number one things. Nice pictures and good materials, at least a good description of yourself, like a short description and a long description. Do you need that too for your side, Brooke, as far as bios?
Yes, you need those. You need some links somewhere to direct your consumers. The other thing is, you might want to take a note card or your cell phone and write down these are the 5 story angles or the 5 subjects that I can speak on at any given day, and have those in your bag so that when things pop up in the news cycle, for example, a lot of people are having the student loan conversation right now.
Yes.
I can connect what I do to student loans and therefore get additional press that I may never have gotten if I did not have a comprehensive list of things I can speak on.
I love that. I love that. Write it down. So all of you in our chat, and then we have a lot of people, and actually they're putting a lot of comments over here. So we will come to you. Don't worry, everyone. We see you over there. But write it down. Write down 5 ways. I know I saw Katie, and Katie's actually she's even going to be doing a TED Talk type situation. So I think knowing you and what you can talk on naturally. So a lot of PR, especially when you're doing a live, the uncomfort comes, it's a little bit more apparent, but if you're talking on something you love, the passion is what comes out. So you see the passion for the product or the app or whatever it is that you're doing. And that's so much more attractive when you're watching it on a show, on news, you're so much more attracted to someone who really feels that. So when you're writing those 5 topics down, what can you feel? What are you passionate about? What like Dr. Clarice, who I don't know if she's in our chat right now, but she's so passionate about helping people to get the help they need to overcome cancer in their lives, so passionate. So she would be a great one to put out when somebody's saying, how does this situation affect cancer, patients? But know your topics. And if something's outside of your comfort zone, tell your PR person, or just like you said, say, I don't know, or I will have to look into that. That's my favorite. I don't have that number off the top of my head. I'll have to get back to you on that. That's what I like to say, or I'll follow up with you on that. but
yes, well, that's what they teach the Miss America girls to say. So I think that's a good one.
That's perfect. Well, you guys have a little known fact that Miss Brooke Young here, she is a Disney character at times for parties.
Yes.
So we'll get back to that at the end.
Yeah, I've done performing for a long time. You brought up something though, and I want to show people how I'd make a connection in real time about Dr. Clarice. So cancer is something that affects most of America at one point or another, whether ourselves, someone close, or someone within the community. We think about major health crises, environmental crises, things like the smoke, right? That has been a big topic of conversation. Those are the type of things when we think about cancer, how could we tie her work and her research and her passion into, environmental crisis, into health crisis, into, financial crisis, right? Because if people aren't financially well, then how are they going to, support themselves, vice versa. So there's so many ways to draw that thread. If you guys have ever done dot to dots when you were little, you want to draw that dot. It shouldn't be, a roundabout way. It should be a clear and direct way. These 2 things connect. Now, it might be a different or a kind of odd idea, but these things connect. When you can take a current crisis or current situation and connect it, wow, a lot of self-love and women empowerment speakers have taken a lot of advantage of a situation. It was a young lady, she was a celebrity, and I can't remember, basically her husband wrote something very rude and nasty to her on the internet. So a lot of like women empowerment speakers, self-love speakers have taken advantage of that. We don't want to do it in a way that seems as though we are taking advantage of a negative situation. Right. We always want to make sure that we're presenting it as, I am supporting you. I am here to offer what I know, and I'm here to help educate, not I'm here to take advantage. And that can be a hard line to walk, but you get better over time.
And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but newsjacking is it's similar to this. It just has a very negative connotation in how it's said. But this is the idea that there's trends that are happening. There's events, there's things going on around you, and you can use that, align it. I think we call trend aware. So you're just trend aware of things that are going on and how you are, either how you're impacted by it or how you can make an impact is even better, right? How you can improve the situation. But again, being positive, being, all of these that we've talked about, there's so many, but being you, being honest, being excited and passionate about what you're doing. And then of course, my favorite is just, if you don't do anything, if you don't get any PR, you're not going to be found. So guys, you can't just sit still. You have to go and get the PR, go and get the opportunities, or find talk with Brooke, and we'll put information on how to reach out to Brooke. She'll comment on these posts so that you guys know how to reach out to her too. But you can't just expect that the world's going to come to you. That's not how it works. If you build it, they will come. That only happened in a movie. It did not happen in real life. So
unfortunately, it doesn't. I wish it was that way. And I think that used to be a little easier too, 10 years ago versus now. There's a lot of noise. The tip I would add to what you said is, don't close off your mind and box yourself into the traditional media mold. There is a client, and we just churn out partnership after partnership after partnership, and it is their favorite thing to do. And she's like, I don't even really care about TV anymore because I'm working with the Miss America pageant, and I'm working with this place and that place. And that has been the biggest source of exposure. So don't close off your mind to strategic partnerships, organizational partnerships. All of that can and will be so valuable to you.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on with us. I'm just going to look through and see if we have any questions. But if you guys have a question, you want it to go to the top because so many people did comment, go ahead and repost it right now. Vanessa. Oh, I love Vanessa. So she has a product too. I need to introduce you to Vanessa. But she lives in a small town. So she joined the Chamber of Commerce to get out there and get more exposure. That's good. But we need to get you on an interview for sure. For sure. So
which state does Vanessa live in?
That's a good question, Vanessa.
I'm from Ohio, so I know all about that.
Yes. But let me see if I can, there were so many questions. When on camera, sometimes people speak too slow or too quickly. Yes. Always try to slow down a beat. Absolutely. It was interesting that so Patrick says the one company that he spoke with didn't like his ideas. That happens though. Okay. You might get turned down, guys. That's okay.
I think getting turned down is the most beautiful thing. If I know that I am not going to be an ethical fit for a client, meaning maybe I don't see the story, maybe I don't like them, maybe I know I won't go to bat for them, it is in my best interest to refer them to someone that will take care of them. So getting turned down is a beautiful thing. Yes. And if someone doesn't like your ideas, that is not the person you want advocating for you.
Absolutely. Well, and Odin asks, when it comes to PR, what's the best way to handle negative testimonials and reviews? So similar to the negativity, because sometimes we just talked about this, there's good press and there's also bad press, guys. It's part of it. So how do you handle negative testimonials or reviews from a PR standpoint?
Absolutely. And gratefully, I don't do too much crisis management. So that's not my specialty. There are people that specialize in the handling of negative reviews. Having said that, obviously minimize them, right? You're not going to share them on your social media feeds. You're going to keep them a little closer to yourself. And then number two, consider your crisis management. How will we spin this to make this make sense to our audience? Mm-hmm. So for example, if there's a bad testimonial, maybe that client didn't do the work. Maybe that client was not an ideal fit. Take accountability and take ownership while telling your side of the story. Now, we don't want to not take accountability because people can see that as people don't like that all too well. Mm-hmm. Take a little bit of accountability and say, I acknowledge this wasn't the best fit, and then spin it into, but here's how I serve and I help people. Always returning back to that value is my version of crisis management. Like I said, there are amazing people all day long. They handle crises. I'm not one of those people because my nervous system could not.
Mine too. I can't take it. But I do think from a PR standpoint, or from I'd say web standpoint, you want good reviews to come out. So if you do experience a negative review, try to go talk to your clients and say, that was awesome. You just said you loved me. Would you be interested in putting a testimonial out, or would you be willing to? So the idea is, when there is a bad thing, can you counteract it with some good things? Because that's more what most people know that are out there, that the ones that are grumpy and complain a lot are mostly the ones that are going to leave something. It's not like all the great
Right.
people are running to leave reviews for us, but just, maybe you need to put a little more time and energy into getting great reviews. Maybe you let it slip. So try that. And it should be part of your marketing strategy to always have your reviews and testimonials growing. I'm horrible at it. I haven't gotten one for a while. So, you have to say maybe once a quarter, let me try to find one person who can come and just talk about my business. And it doesn't have to be anything complex. Just ask them what their experience was like. And you almost always will find a golden nugget in there.
You will.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if there's any other tips you have for us, but you've given us so much already. I think we could definitely have Brooke back for future interviews too. She's actually going to be speaking to our partners next week, I believe. So this is exciting. And so we will continue to give you guys all the PR advice and knowledge that we have. If you have any questions, though, you can, in Brooke, I'll give you the link so you can go comment and just tell people where to reach out to you so that they can reach you. But thank you again.
Yes, thank you. And guys, my last tip that I'd love to leave you with is be creative. Very, very creative. Think outside the box. Think in the box. Think 50 miles away from the box. Right before I got on here, a friend within the PR world called me and she said, I need your creative brain for a second. So even if you're not a creative person by nature, do something creative, get yourself in that spirit, and think really creatively and objectively about what you have to offer the world.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I am going to just take 1 second to tell everyone else that we appreciate you being here every single week with us live noon on Fridays. So noon Pacific time on Fridays. And if you do want more information about PR, just put PR in the chat. We'll make sure to send you a little recap and our video from today. So if you didn't catch it all, you will have it all at your fingertips. So Sage, great to have you here. Thank you. She was awesome. She's an awesome guest speaker and positive mindset. Oh yes, we do have to keep it positive for sure. Thank you, Vanessa. I know we have Zwizzy. I don't know if you put it in the chat yet, but I will put it up on the screen if you want to put the website for Zwizzy. And of course, Sage has a huge base. Oh, I'm just seeing your comments now. Sage, awesome. I mean, they won't even show on my screen. They're so long, but you're absolutely right. And we do have, a lot of Paul Fitzgerald, who's one of our PR guys. Definitely, there's kind of two different worlds. What I love about Brooke and the I guess like the contrast between the two of them. Paul Fitzgerald's great. He writes our press releases. He's very print oriented. And I love that we have these options. We have options for people who want to go to the live side and want to go talk on TV or get that extra exposure or get guest speaking and podcasting opportunities. That's what I love about Brooke, is she feeds great guests to me. So if you're looking for someone to get you onto shows, for sure, she's amazing at it. But Paul's great. We love him for our PR, our press release. More of the print side, he's amazing. But it should be, yes, Odin, 100%. It is part of your marketing plan. Your PR should be there. It functions as lead generation and assists in conversions and client retention and management too, because you'll show up consistently in the PR for your own clients. So you definitely want to be there. But I appreciate you all being here. And it's interesting that one company I spoke to. Oh, yes, I already said that one. Okay, beautiful. Well, guys, thank you for being here. I know it's been a crazy week with 4th of July, and I just appreciate you taking the time out to be here with us. We'll see you all next week. Have a blessed week. Bye.